But
Really interesting.
But it is very much its fate has been decided by its RNG, I think.
Yeah. So real quick, you'll see him jumping a lot. There's this very, very slight speed boost on it, but you know, every quarter second counts, so we do it. Um, and yes, so now we're actually getting towards the real game. We're done with the first cutscene. Oh, hello, people. God, they all look so like creepy, lovingly.
Yeah,
Oh,
nah.
and the potato graphics. I like how their eyes. Everyone has cataracts.
all cloudy eyes, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Hey, I'm just looking to pass through.
how long was that ready?
7:03, so probably about 8 seconds.
Yeah.
I'm
I'm
keeping your
not tired
splits
at
right
all.
now.
What are you talking about, Shush?
I'm keeping your splits just in case. I won't tell them if you don't want them. So yeah, this is the introduction to Colombia. You basically get dunked in water and they drown you so that you can be reborn, which seems like a really risky way of getting people into your city. But this is why they have a floating city and I don't.
Who's there? Who's there?
So parts of this. Oh my God, Jarko, that looks even worse than I thought.
Oh, it's bad, yeah. You can
Wait,
perfectly
why?
see the frame of it and everything.
Why is mine somewhat better?
Ooh,
Oh, you know what? It's because yours is 15 FPS also on top of it, and that's what's throwing me off.
I think that I absolutely believe that. Yeah, I am.
Yeah, because I'm
shown.
watching. I have the Twitch stream in another window. So basically, you are tasked with going to find this girl, and that's literally about all you know at this point. You're in a floating city. All right, so this is a very small skip, but I find it really interesting. There's an invisible wall between you and the bottom here,
Whoa.
and if you can jump around it, you can skip that little animation of it. But you time it based on the violin, which I think is fun.
I
The
missed
music
it
in this
a
game
little
is.
bit there, but
What's up?
I missed it a little bit there, but got
Yeah,
it
but it's a
together in
pretty
the end a
easy
little
one
bit.
to. It's a pretty easy one to like just if you miss the first one, you just yeet yourself off right away, and it's fine.
Let's see if I can't.
All right, so this is a newer skip.
Yeah, this is fairly new.
We've started to
but
find a lot
it
of
uses
ways
slip
to,
clipping.
yeah, something that is called slip clipping.
Yeah, it's
Essentially,
a
it's
bit
at
of
a super high
geometry.
frame rate. You just kind of phase through stuff.
It looks like I'm stuck here on something.
That always, I think I've gotten that once in the last like 10 or 15 runs.
Yeah, it works a lot better when you got a better graphics card than I do, but
Well,
ain't
do you
the
have a
time to be
frame counter
buying
right
any
now,
graphics
or no?
cards.
Do you have a frame rate counter going?
What's that?
Do you have a frame rate counter going?
Oh yes, I'm
What are
in
you at right now?
130s.
Okay.
Running around loading new area. The 160 it looks.
Yeah.
That's where they said I'd find her.
So it's a little bit of a tricky thing. These like slip clipping, because a lot of it is, you're moving into like just basically a bunch of invisible collision items, and for some reason you're getting through stuff because of your frame rate. But then you might stop, but you might not always stop in the same place. All right, so now we're at the raffle, and so this is called Raffle Skips. So there's a huge section of this where you go and you choose a number for a baseball, and if you heard the game, they said don't choose number 77, and you guess what? You choose it. So instead of that, we jump on the side of this little bottle, jump over, and then just throw ourselves into the abyss, and the level loads around us. And now we have skipped all of that, which despawns all the enemies and big fight you're supposed to have here with a fireman. And it's when you learn Devil's Kiss, fireworks for good luck. Oh, damn it. Excuse me. I'm so sorry. Okay, so that is the first, I would call that the first real section. Yeah?
Yeah, that's right there where you split.
Yep. So going on from there, this is just a fun little area of goodies. So we grab a couple things. Sugar Rush, Fleet Feet. So those are 2 speed things. Fleet Feet just makes it so your strafing is as fast as your moving forward speed and your backward speed, correct?
Yeah, backpedaling as well, which
Yeah,
is why we backpedal towards the
Yeah.
end of the game.
Yeah, there are some places. There's the chase in Finkton Docks, which I'll point out that you can that the game curbs your forward motion for the sake of story, I guess. I don't know. Um, and you can just turn around and walk backwards, and it's a little bit quicker.
It's just about twice as fast, which
Is it really?
Yeah, which is very useful for that part of the game.
Yeah.
And allows us to pull off some skips halfway through the last section of the game as well.
Yeah, so basically all you're seeing right now is just we've routed the game so that it's A, as quick as possible, but B, also hits as many chances for food items as possible. On easy, which is what we are on, it's pretty likely you're going to get food items often, and so that's great. I've been trying to route a 1999 mode, which 1999 is like the super hard version of it. And I literally can't even beat the game. Like it's impossible.
99 mode is not an easy run.
No, there's been interesting things like for that right there, just to lower the chance of dying, you can stay up top and jump off a later balcony and just kind of do like a weird like S curve.
Yeah, you just hang out on the right side, don't you? And then drop down from the top.
Yeah, you drop down from the top, and if you're quick enough, you get there before anyone loads in.
Yeah, because those 2 dudes don't load in quite right if you drop in from on top of the hitbox.
Yeah. So what he's gonna do here is basically just set up a couple traps and wait for the crow to walk towards him. There's a big boom, and since it's easy. All right, so now we're gonna
pick this up.
Now we're gonna grab the Raven. So this is something we normally don't do. We try to avoid this one because you can get it later, but I do like this little cutscene because he's gross.
However low res.
However low res he is. He's low res and very gross. So yeah, we basically just run, and right now what we're trying to do is get to Monument Island because the girl is supposed to be there. And remember, we're actually being chased by hundreds and hundreds of people because at the raffle, some things happened, and everyone's very mad at us now. So that's Monument Island. I'm sorry, that's not Monument Island. That's on our way to Monument Island.
Yep, almost there. We'll be there shortly, folks.
Again, most of this is just, I think the main things you sort of want to, like, take into account while you're running around is, well, you don't have to really manage it yet, but you manage how much shield you have, because eventually when HRH mod starts, having the right amount of shield at the right times is going to be super important in terms of chaining your boosts. And you'll see what that looks like. All right, so this is called Cargo Skip.
Oh, missed it.
And it did not happen, but you didn't get stuck, which is great. Basically, if you're quick enough to get in, to attach the skyline in front of that cargo little freighter thing, you can. Wow, I'm sorry. I'm watching this because this is a new path because I miss it all the time too. You can basically just do a little loop-de-loop and get around there quickly. But if you get the cargo thing to basically slingshot you forward, you can do a little jump and walk on an invisible roof and get here maybe 20 seconds faster or something. Maybe, although your alternate is much faster than the one I do. I run through the house like a
Some
peasant.
folks still do. It ain't that slow. You can be quick about it, especially if you get some sugar rush boost going or something like that.
I find I just end up running, like, the people in there, I just run into them. They're so good at getting in my way. So we're just setting some fire bombs. Sorry, when I say we, I mean Jarko. So I'm just, literally just sitting here watching you play.
Well, it's something you do as well when you
Yes.
execute the route.
I love how you think I'm kidding. I do that. But if I'm like, yeah, totally, I totally set up those traps. That's why that's not why I'm 7 minutes behind my old PB. I started running this beginning of quarantine pretty aggressively, and I'm like sort of just coming back to it. And some of the new skips that we've found, or that's been found in the past, I don't know, 6 months or so, I've skipped a lot of not a lot of stuff that I really hated. Monument Island, you'll see, was one that was just 5 cutscenes in a row. And like the most you did was walk and hit interact. Okay, so we're basically getting on an airship. And you gotta kill the people, and then you get this.
Gotta find the controls to take this thing to Monument Island.
We see more of our friend Comstock.
Get this thing going.
Okay, I'm gonna just be a physics butthead here. How is everyone so nicely balanced on that? Are we talking
Not
like gravity
even a clue.
boots?
Not even a clue.
Right? Okay, so
This
I'm
has
not
never made any sense. Wouldn't it be bobbing? Wouldn't they kind of like, float up into the air if they got boosted or something? Yeah.
they gotta have some sort of
Some turbulence.
they have some sort of like magnet boots or something. Look, we have quantum particles. So they got something. Alright, so now we just sprint a bunch.
And now we're at Monument Island.
Oh, Monument Island. So Monument Island is where they keep Elizabeth, and generally how this section plays out is you run around through this island or this tower, and you find a lot of interesting stuff, and you hear a lot of interesting voice logs, and the lore is very deep and very well crafted. Instead, we eat everyone's food, drink everyone's coffee, and run as fast as we can, ignoring... I should grab those. I never grabbed those.
Yeah, I just like the safety of extra salt towards the end fight.
That's true, yeah. So, we just barrel through it. Now, normally, once you get to this elevator, you've explored around a little bit, and then you get to the specimen area, which is... God, that elevator looks so bad.
Yeah.
Jeez. So you get to this area. It's the specimen tracking area, and
That's where we need to go.
we get to watch these cutscenes with Elizabeth in them.
There
recently-
are really new skips that absolutely
Yeah.
just skip this. That we do not need to be seeing this anymore. But I admittedly do not have the latest in GPU technology, and I'm not able to achieve the frame rates needed.
It's a really tricky one. But basically, there's a phenomenon that happens when your frame rate gets really high, where if you just sometimes walk into certain walls that are either like sloped just a tiny bit, or they're where two places meet. And I could be getting this wrong, but this is just sort of like my own anecdotal experience and like kind of watching you guys. You can start kind of like skipping up a thing or skipping against a thing and kind of like hang on the wall a little bit. And if you spam that with jump, it's a little bit more consistent. On top of that, we bind our scroll wheel. We bind jump to our scroll wheel. We also bind interact to our scroll wheel, because to pick up things out of boxes and stuff, you actually need to do 2 inputs. And I'm pretty sure all of our pointer fingers would fall off if we had to do that to everything. So just as an ease thing. I mean, I don't know how you do it. I do pull down as grab and push up as jump.
Yeah, exact opposite for me, but yep, I do use the scroll wheel for those, yes.
Yeah, so
that's pretty necessary for BSI.
Yeah, so basically the skip is we do one of those early on before that first cutscene. We do something called the slip flip, where you just sort of mush your way into geometry, and then the game goes, what am I doing with this guy? So it'll sort of teleport you up to try to get you out of the object. And then when you get there, you can sort of mash against the wall and float along the wall and skip all of those cutscenes by basically landing on the platform that gets you to the thing you just saw where he opened a hatch and went outside. And it saves a good chunk of time, but if you mess it up a couple times, you're at a big disadvantage because you're either going to keep messing it up or you're going to go ahead and do the thing you were not going to do anyways. So it's a pretty risky one. But yeah, I've been practicing it a lot and I can't. I think I got it in the last run I did, and it was so stressful. Like I'm pretty sure I I didn't breathe the whole time, and I had like a single tear dripping down my eye.
Gosh, aged a bit doing it, yeah.
Dude, a Hall of Heroes, we've all aged about 20 years.
Yeah. For how short it is, that is the most stuff going on in any.
Oh man, that's a great section though. Once you get in the flow of it, like once you actually sit there and like ration out how many
bust out
rockets
a
you go in
clean Hall of Heroes, no missed death warps.
Like
yeah,
that's like you walk out of there like you just strut out of there at that point. You're like, I don't even care how this run goes. I got a gold split on Hall of Heroes. Everything's fine. Yeah, that's a really tricky section. So basically, right now we have given a key to Elizabeth to let her out of her crate, and we're basically leaving. But there's this thing called Songbird. Oh, get trolled. You can just stand in her way, and then she phases into the wall instead.
Got her.
Yeah.
What am I?
Heck yeah.
What am I?
Basically, we're getting chased by Songbird, and there he is. But we just keep running, and then there's a fun cutscene which I call bathroom break number 1. That's how you get down there quickly. I've been so bad at this one part. I don't know why, but this stair climb gives me the most anxiety.
Yeah, it can be rough until you're familiar with which direction you're actually getting boosted, because it's the same direction every time. And you can just use that directioning to push yourself along pretty much. But it is something that will massively trip you up if you don't know which way it's pushing you.
Yeah, there's a certain point where you gain a bunch of movement speed, and the screen is shaking violently. And so kind of keeping your control there, like many times I have flipped off of one of those staircases and then done the climb and had to do the climb again. Which isn't like a crazy time loss, but like in this section when you're literally running from a giant bird, even if you aren't like, God, I actually haven't, I'm looking at this right now and I haven't seen it in so long. This is always when I go like refill my coffee or something. Yeah, that can just be a really stressful. So we're just riding a skyline to get away from Songbird, and there's Monument Tower, and there's Lizzie's Molten Head. And yeah, I mean,
just tons of fun stuff.
Yeah. Is there anything else right now? I mean, that's why I'm saying this is bathroom break. Normally I'd be like,
there's a little scene that I'd be there for, but yeah, otherwise you got a moment here.
Yeah, go for it.
Alright. So, hi. So, people may not have realized there's a bit of a hosting change in the background while this run is going on. And hi, I'm Silverfire. I will be your host for the next couple hours. And
How you doing?
I'm one of the Valkyries. I'm doing alright. It's a good morning. To drown or something?
Yes, so we just drowned. Again, this is the second time we've drowned.
It seems to be a running theme.
Oh, it is a running theme through this. Yeah, we just drowned part 2. And then cool. Great. So that's kind of I figured that's always like the first quarter of the game. It feels like
Yeah, this for a
or the
long
first
time.
big section.
This first, how long is it? Just about 30
So you're
minutes.
yeah, you're about 26,
No, it's
30
me.
right now.
Yeah, by the time you get to HRH, you're about at
All right.
30 minutes, and this was the first 30 minutes of the game that
In the land of
the
living.
OG any percent
Here,
players just
Be fine.
have a hard
Almost
time with.
drowned.
It's, you know,
I
it's
said,
because you used to grind through this at an unreal rate of like 50 resets in a single session, and it was just draining. You just suck your soul. Well, you couldn't even get to that. What could you get to? Maybe like 6 or 7, 8 runs,
I won't be long, Mr.
failed
Dillon.
HRHs in a
God,
row, and it would
it
just
sounds miserable. I'm very glad I showed up after.
yes.
So is this something that the mod changed?
Yeah,
Or
the
Okay.
mod guarantees that we get HRH to spawn basically,
Yeah.
and yeah, just it's just a version where we don't mess with the RNG of it. What in the world?
Which is made the run much more accessible. So what Jarko is attempting to do right now, which is a frame rate based trick also, so sometimes it's a little finicky, is something called a what do we call it? A super jump?
I do not have a word for what this is. You just kind of can stand on geometry. I don't know why I'm not able to today.
Yeah.
Um,
But there are certain places in geometry where you can kind of
I guess not.
lock into, and in this case, you can when the gods are actually smiling on you, you can do like 3 little jumps up to get on top of that little
Hey, miss.
like bungalow thing, and then from there you can do what we're calling a super jump.
Yes, those are
That's
super jumps.
Yeah.
Miss.
And that's where you
Miss.
use scroll wheel,
Elizabeth.
spamming jump, getting your head stuck in some position, and you fling yourself out of there, and you can jump kind of boosted in the air. I don't know what causes it, but you
Yeah,
go
it's
pretty
something
high.
about
About Paris.
I'm not like I tried
Where
for
that airship's going, but if you want to stay and dance,
an insane amount of time to figure out exactly what was going on in the physics of it, and the best I could come up with is as you jump and the game doesn't know where to place you because you have no headroom, because you've jammed yourself into a thing, it just starts trying to eject you from random areas, like in random directions, and basically you hope that it's
give a
up.
man a little.
But instead, what Jarko is doing is the older version of this skip, of a skip that skipped something that was called Medallion Skip or Cage, whatever.
Neither skip was
Neither
a
skip. Oh my god.
popular
Got it.
term.
So basically, there's a fun cutscene where the Lutece twins, who are the people on the boat, they offer Liz a necklace that's either a bird or a cage, and you decide, and it's long and it's dumb, and I'm sure there is in a lot of metaphorical whatever to it. We don't really care right now. So this is HRH mod. There it is. See? Didn't even have to worry about it. It's amazing. God, technology.
And that would have otherwise have been 1 in 52 odds. And that would have been me
What was it that
just checking the box, seeing if it had HRH, possibly checking the other box. Oh, is she not? There she
There
goes.
we go.
I hadn't realized they
Yeah,
didn't start
Liz has to
talking.
be a certain amount away, close to that woman to
a
trigger. But anyways,
Do I know you?
so really quick, the neither skip that was just there, basically he jumped and hit a certain point in collision where the game was like, get out of here, and it warps you to the top of that thing and you can jump around it. It's super, it's hard to execute. It's simple in terms of its setup. You just get on that barrel and aim at a certain place.
Yeah.
What's tricky about a lot of this like collision clipping, this slip clipping and stuff like that is sometimes it has to do, sometimes you have to spam jump with it, and sometimes you can't spam jump because it screws it up. Like in that case, you can't spam jump
like this?
when you hit that weird collision. You just have to, you just have to like collide with it and hopefully it pushes you up. Whereas something like the Monument Tower things we were talking about that are very frame rate based, you have to spam your jump wheel. And then there's just a lot of little quirks of like, you'll see a skip coming up called an elevator, which is basically a combination of the two things where you jam yourself against some collision and you spam jump, and you basically just elevate straight up this wall. But I've found recently, since starting to use Jarko's version of this game, which is, I don't even know, like what a smaller, like a russet potato, like a baby potato version of this, like, that you have to have a certain frame rate to, like, a certain range of frame rate to execute an elevator versus having a really high frame rate for something that is kind of the same in a way in terms of its concept. It's a very strange game. I think, Jarko, this is just me telling you this now. I feel like a new tutorial is in order soon.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'll help you with that because
with the arrival of BioShock 4, I would expect a remake is in order, or that would be about the time for something like that to be out.
Do we have a timeline for that?
Timeline?
For BioShock 4?
Not a clue.
Okay, cool.
I'd say
I thought that
probably
something got
about
announced.
year and a half, 2 years.
Yeah.
That's my just unprofessional, no connections guess.
Yeah, I have it's 2K, right?
Yeah, it's
their developers are Cloud
Chamber. Yeah.
Okay, so that was Battleship Bay.
Yep, that was.
Anyways, it's a finicky game. So and there's a lot of frame rate throttling in certain ways, and like so this skip here is basically you have to wait for a line. Instead, if you spam this and ask her to pick a lock, she says, if I can find some genuine lock picks, blah, blah, blah. And magically the door is ready to be lifted.
It's a decent 10 to 15, but there's another skip we got now where we use a frame rate throttler to drop our frame rate down to like 15, 30 FPS. And we can run right under the gate. Makes the trigger for it pretty slow, and you can slip under the gate if you're quick enough about crouching and stuff and getting speed boosts for it.
Yeah, and there's a beer bottle off to the right when you get to that section, so it's great. Okay, so we have the elevator coming up. So this is what I was speaking of a moment ago, where we're going to jump around a small invisible wall, and then he's going to spam jump with the scroll wheel while facing the wall, and this happens. You just climb, because that's how games work, right?
Because this wall, I believe, is at a slight angle due to just whoever making the map just offsetting that side of the wall or that entire block of flippable geometry, or collisionable, I guess would be the term, geometry.
Yeah. So real quick, what he's doing is he just walked on an invisible wall that is tracing the top of those buildings, and
that was close.
Nice.
That wasn't fun.
Yeah, anxiety.
That was close as heck. That could have been real fun, yeah.
Yeah. So basically, he just clips through, like falls through some floor that doesn't have any collision, and he basically, the whole point of Soldier Field is you need to get behind a certain door, and we just decide to fall behind that door. So he's just setting some traps here for enemies that have really consistent spawns. That one right there is super obnoxious. Come on, Crow. Here we go, eat it. So that bomb that he threw up, or that fire that he threw a trap up towards the ticket sign, is mainly because there's a guy who spawns there and he jumps off, and for some reason he's always late to the party, and it's really annoying to have to go kill him and then run all the way back this way. So we just set up a trap and wait by the thing, because you can't pull the elevator till combat's done, which is a main theme in this game. It's just like, hey, please kill everyone before you keep going. All right, here's where we get to see HRH, Hill Runner's hat, just completely abused. All right, Jarko, hit it.
Yeah, this is gonna be rough. I don't have. Oh, there's some more RPG ammo. That should help me.
Oh, yeah, you got plenty.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, we're gonna be going for our first death warp here. We're gonna be using Hrh, and I'm gonna try to get something Sugar Rush worthy here. Let's see. I have to time it out a little bit.
Yeah, so
Okay, there's some food for us. So
yeah, so you go for this. I'll quickly explain. So there's a series of doors you have to get through in this area, right? And it's basically wave after wave of enemy. But the
time that out poorly.
the fun thing you can do is when your body dies, you lose collision, but you can still trigger events. So what we end up doing is killing ourselves in a specific way while running towards the door. And when you jump and do it, your body maintains momentum, loses collision, and maintains the ability to trigger events, so you can imagine what happens. We just get to keep going through it. It's a super tricky skip, and it is one that early on I remember grinding like within an inch of its life. I think the best way to describe it is you more quickly find out all of the quirks of what happens when you fail this skip than you do actually what the skip is supposed to do, you know?
Yeah, my subtitles seem to be messed up there, and I didn't get what I was expecting to happen. So we're gonna just go for this again. Oh, now she triggered that dialogue. I thought she had triggered that before, but she hadn't. Alright, we're gonna go for this again now. Hopefully that was far enough. We were trying to reach a specific point. I'm gonna try to run over to that door, see if it's unlocked.
Yeah, you can basically tell if that unlocks.
There we go.
There it is. So we just did the first skip. What was interesting, Jarko, that I just realized is you don't have to get that red slip right there that says defeat Slate's men. I thought that was a requirement, but
Oh, did I not get that?
no, you didn't.
Yeah.
That, right? So I thought you were about to fail it.
Oh, does that not happen if you don't get far enough in?
Yeah, okay. And then this one's also tricky, which is you have to kill yourself through this gate, which is the same concept. However, if you go too far, you'll see the memorial of Our Lady on the very top, and you'll also get Slate's dialogue starting. And that means you completely messed up and you have to go back to the first one, which is
Oh no.
super cool. So what he just did there, running to that side, was basically he needed to trigger a couple enemies, and so that they spawn later and the game continues as it's supposed to. All right, so this is the third Hrh skip, and it's arguably the hardest because you have to hit this wall at the very last second, and he got it. Heck yes. All right, so that's great because I'm nervous right now. So basically he skipped through a big long section of story stuff where we start to learn more about the Vox Populi, and more importantly, how white people think of them. Basically, that's just the nature of the game. It has a serious amount of racial undertones. And actually, I didn't realize this. I didn't realize this, but I had looked this up because I was looking up the new one. The Tea Party, and I believe is this an international audience, I'm assuming? The Tea Party was a political movement in the United States back when Obama was running against John McCain and Sarah Palin. And it was very nationalist, and it was very, unfortunately, kind of angry and not really inclusive. I'm using softer language right now. And they actually use this game as like a see how much that like everyone's hating on us thing. I didn't realize it, but they called this game out for it, which I actually have to imagine the devs were probably like, oh cool, we did something that was effective.
Kind of fodder for Ken
Like
Levine,
People didn't misunderstand the political message in this game.
yeah, and I don't think his I don't think it was going. I don't think Ken Levine was going specifically after the Tea Party because this game was in development long before that movement like flared up essentially. But yes, so we learn about the Vox Populi there, which is super cool, but we don't need to do that. So anyways, we just, again, it's a speed run. We kill people quickly, we barrel through it, and we try to leave everyone behind. So this is a relatively new optimization we found where you can, again, kind of spam jump and get over those things. And then if you wait very specifically on this corner, normally to grab this skyline, you have to go over to the right side, and you have to grab it at a specific place. But we found that you can grab it on the left side and it skips just having to deal with more people, and it's a little more like you're there right when the line becomes available.
Yeah, there's a bit of a chance to get murdered over on the other end, so...
Yeah, because you sit there having to wait.
Over there.
Yeah, there used to be a whole thing where it was, like, advantageous to throw in, Elizabeth can open tears that have, you know, things that aid you in a fight. And it was tricky because you would normally jump down, and when you jump down, you lose your shield and a lot of health. And then you have a bunch of guys shooting at you, and you're like hiding behind a box or something, or at least I was, like a coward. So, yeah, basically.
What number? There we go.
Is it 4?
I think so, yeah. I think that's
Okay.
what I got to finally.
So, anyways, now we're at Soldiers Field Part 2, and there are no elevators here. It is just an auto-scroller of a fight. Short version is we just set up the best we can for it, and there's people who spawn here. It's so funny because every runner has like slight differences in how they set up. Like for me, I do that same thing, but I use 4 of those bombs because I do not mess around with having to go up there and get them. I also grabbed towards the beginning of the game, I grabbed something called Ghost Posse, which is when you kill someone with a trap, there's a chance that their gun just becomes an ally and like just shoots people for you as a ghostly thing. So basically this is kind of an auto-scroller of a fight. If there are donations to read, or if you need to jump in on anything,
Well,
so go for
there
it.
aren't any donations, but I can talk about other things. So some upcoming incentives that I'd like to talk about. We have we have the transistor incentive coming up. Which has this been met? I don't know. Oh, looks like it actually has. Sorry about that.
Well, heck yeah.
I'll just talk about Take This, which is
Please, yeah.
we're fundraising to support Take This. They support mental health charity and help the especially they focus a lot on the video game, both like player and development communities, to make sure that everyone knows that help is out there and that it's okay to not be okay.
That's awesome.
Phenomenal.
So where exactly is that charity based out of?
It is a US-based charity. However, they do a lot of events, including events that are not based in the US.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
So,
cool.
one of the things they do for especially large video game conventions like PAX and so forth is set up AFK rooms, which is basically a calm and quiet place which people can use to regain their calm, especially in a busy convention environment.
That's something I've seen a fair amount of places doing recently. I really think it's a great idea because it's really noticing that overstimulation can actually be a pretty crippling thing for a lot of people. So that's really awesome.
Yeah, I can. And these are professionally staffed areas so that to keep them true to their intention.
Yeah, that's awesome.
All yours.
So if I can just jump in really quick with what he just did. At the end of that fight, this gondola comes down, and you have to take it up to the aerodrome. I don't know. It's up
Something
there.
like that.
Something like that. Basically, where you have to get on an airship.
Fine thing you came along when you
And we could wait for the motorized Patriot, which is those George Washington robots with miniguns, because video games, right? We can either wait for him to come down on the gondola, or because we are us, we use the Hill Runner's hat, which is OP, to launch ourselves and get on that early. And when we trigger Liz to spawn, to lockpick, then she just shows up. The problem is you can't move too far away from the door, or you can't look at her. It's very she's very shy apparently. And then other than that, we just did a death warp to skip a little bit of riding the gondola. And now we just, like, you know, the little optimizations here, it's like why you manage your health and shield a lot. It's like you just shoot yourself a lot, honestly, just to run a wee bit faster.
I'm pretty sure that you've done more damage to yourself than anything else has, that's for sure.
Oh,
Yes.
oh, we do, like, literally exponentially more damage to ourselves than anyone could. And that's also because, like, like, the spawns for people are relatively consistent. Actually, they are consistent. It's after that they can start to react to where you are. So that's why, you know, in that last fight, you saw Jarko just kind of stand there and wait for people to come to him. It's since there's skylines, it's the best way to. Oh wait, Liz is gonna do damage to us.
Some pretty heavy damage.
Yeet.
Turn around and talk to me.
Yeah, no, but basically just you want to avoid messing with the AI too much there, and the best way to go about that's just by sitting in one spot and letting them come to you.
Yeah, and there's a chance if you go try to find them, sometimes they can stay on a rooftop, and since we only have a shotgun, which is short range, and an RPG, which is not a sniper, it's really hard to get them because their elevation is also matched with the highest skyline. So you can't get a down angle on them to blow them up or anything. And it just becomes a place where you all of a sudden now have to revert your save and start that fight over, which is really annoying. So yeah, and then you go to the thing and you're supposed to bring the girl to New York, and Liz is like, you want to go to Paris? And he's like, yeah, and he lies, and then she hits you with a wrench for it. And apparently we can take on hundreds of trained killers, but one Disney princess with a wrench just kicks our butt. That's always my favorite thing. Is it's like the slowest, like, I don't know how he ever misses that. He's too trusting.
I guess so.
Yeah, so this is Daisy Fitzroy. And for anyone who's confused, good, because we have told you maybe 6% of the entire story. This game is really lore heavy, and I will say for like a very action-packed game, they do a really good job of building the world. So if you ever play this, please do it casually first. It's not it's one of those games that you could finish the main story in probably like 6 hours, or if you're a completionist and you really want to learn about the lore and listen to that, it's like a 20-hour game. Or it could be anywhere from like 10 to 20 hours, depending on how deep you go. But there's so many cool things with the way in which music is used in it. I don't think the game volume is very high in stream. I have it muted for myself right now, but there's so many interesting ways in which, you know, they use this idea of, you know, Liz opening tears to different like parallel universes, and people hearing music inside of those and then like transcribing that music for the time. So there's a whole like storyline in the. Oh my god, you're going so fast.
Uh-oh. That's all right.
This is just a little skip optimizing thing. There's cool ways in which music is used, like, and it's not a coincidence that the one song you hear her singing and the one song that shows up in the cutscenes that you hear from her is "Everybody Wants to Rule the World." Like, of course that's it, you know. So Jarko just tried something called Barge Skips, which is just a little loop around. It's pretty hard to get because you're landing on that weird circular silo attached to the wall thing. But that thing over
It's
there.
real awkward.
Yeah, it's real awkward because the top of it is sloped and has no collision. And you're anticipating that being where you're going to have to spam your second jump, but you have to hold your sort of like reaction for a second because you actually land on something under it. And that's where you do it. So he just abused fleet feet there and used the sideward, the strafing motion to get past that little slowdown because it curbs your forward momentum, but not your left, right, or back momentum. And then with fleet feet, it's the same speed as your forward momentum, so you basically just walk through it normally. So now we have a fun little fight coming up where we get the greatest weapon in the game that I never used when it was casual, and I only use, everyone only uses in this run, and it is the Volley Gun. But first, killing. Lots of it.
Just gonna be popping a bunch of dudes here, yep.
Yeah.
That's all that's going on.
Yeah, and what's interesting is watching different runners. I know a lot of games say this, but I feel like this game specifically, there's a very set run. However, your execution within that run is always different. Like, I have a different setup for this fight completely. But that doesn't mean it's better. It just means it's the one that I'm used to and I figured out. It probably takes the same amount of time as what Jarko just did, but that was really clean.
Yeah, I don't consider myself a BSI runner. I'm certainly a glitch hunter, skip hunter, whatever. So I don't think I've ever done a fight the exact same way twice.
Really?
Or at least not in a row. Yeah, especially if I like one, always changing it up.
Something I learned from you and from watching Distortion, who's a really good runner in this game. I think he holds second place right now.
Yeah, behind Mama Tesla.
Yeah, and the only reason I didn't watch Mama Tesla's is because it's Russian and I wanted to hear if Distortion actually explained anything, because there's a lot of new things I need to catch up on. But I didn't realize that you guys utilized, I didn't realize that the electric bolt was so powerful, and I just completely ignored it because I was like, oh, it just stuns a single enemy. I'd rather use crowd control like the Ravens or something. And I just started using it, and it has sped up so many, like, you know, mini boss kills. Like, it's
Shock Rock is useful.
Yeah, I think it's probably it's one of the most basic of the vigors, which are plasmids, same thing.
Yeah, it and Buck and Bronco kind of have a utility usage to them, which makes them useful. And then later on we have Undertow, which kind of fulfills the use of both and just lets us push enemies away.
Undertow's great because it's essentially like, if you can't find people towards the end of the last fight, which can be very, very tricky, you can just pull them towards you, which is super easy.
I got no ammo on me.
Nah, I hit him with the bolt. You got this. Oh wow, you had no ammo. Wow. You might want to grab some health too.
I'll be fine.
Let's wing it. Let's hope they drop a bunch of candy bars and pears.
That man didn't drop any, but that's alright.
Oh yeah, an orange. So yeah, there's just ways to optimize the fights. Lay traps down if you feel like someone's coming. All right, so he didn't trigger that?
Yeah, yes, not.
All right, so coming up is probably the biggest skip in terms of time. This cuts like hours of gameplay, right?
Yeah. I don't know how long it would be if we didn't do.
I mean, you're doing
We
all
did, like,
the
no major
Chenlin
skips.
stuff, and you have to go through different tears and universes, and it's a whole time where we learn about this whole theme of constants and variables, which we can explain towards the end because we have a lot of time then. But what he's gonna do here is basically get close to death, and he's gonna death warp through the backside of this elevator. And on the backside of this elevator is a roof, and if you stop at a perfect time, you stand on this roof. Now from here, you're gonna activate Hrh Hat, and you're just gonna yeet off, and you're gonna land on a really specific spot here. Fall onto here, and the next area loads, and because of that, we just skipped all of that area, and that area is
Yep.
very big. And then we just have to, tricky part is to skip this. We just have to death warp through the gate that's up here, as opposed to trying to kill everyone. Which can be tricky, because when you're trying to control your health and die at a very certain point, having two things shooting rockets at you and a motorized Patriot tracking you down, no fun. It's really, that's one of them that gives me a lot of anxiety too. Good, so that's Finkton proper. Now we're on to the
Wasn't too bad.
factory. No, you're actually, like, I'm looking at your times here. It's not bad.
I could be on pace for a PB. I'm not gonna go out and pretend like I am, but I could.
All right, I mean, I've got internal real-time splits. That's about it. And Lord knows they're probably not.
What am I at? Like 52, 53?
You're at 57 real-time.
Yeah,
But your
okay.
loads are probably, what, 2 minutes, 3 minutes at least?
Nah, not that much, but not doing bad. That's not bad.
No.
An hour around here is where I would expect myself at, but
And let me go out on a limb and say you didn't do a warm-up run this morning.
yeah, I haven't done much warming up. I didn't even check really how many skips would be possible. Not within like the last 24 hours at least.
It is 6:15 for you.
Yes.
And 7:15 for me. Where are you, Minnesota? Why am I? Oh my god, I got that?
Yeah.
You had to have told me. I must have read it somewhere, because there's no way I would have remembered that. But
I think I got it on my SR com, yeah.
you're in Minnesota. I'm in New York City. And
Fun.
yeah, and so I'm sure if any of my neighbors in my building are up, they're probably like, what is this kid doing? He is speaking to no one and using words like death warping. So, dear everyone else in this building, I'm fine. It's okay.
Hello? Fink?
So, yeah, now we're at the factory, which is Fink's factory, where a big showdown happens between Fink, who is essentially a Vanderbilt Carnegie-esque person, for anyone who knows, like, 20th century American history. It's one of those, what do they call them, like, magnates or whatever. Basically, you own a bunch of money, and you're not super great to your workers, but you make it seem like you are. But you make a lot of really cool stuff. But also at what cost? So... Wait, why didn't they spawn in the right place?
There they are.
Is that new to you?
I probably just missed them. Oh, did I get that either? There you go.
That was bizarre.
If
Anyways,
you have any,
for me, they spawn somewhere else.
if host has any read-offs to
Oh
read
yeah,
off,
sorry.
feel free. No.
I don't, but I want to mention that there's a the next game in the schedule is Spyro 2 Season of Flame. There's an incentive that has not yet been met. If you want to donate to meet the incentive that after the normal run to beat the game with cheats and show a little bit of an exhibition on what you can do if you actually turn on some of the cheats in the game. That is at currently $49 out of $100.
Oh yeah, for sure you guys need to donate to that. that sounds like chaos in like the best way possible.
It's pretty silly.
Yeah. Also, the Spyro games are so like ripe for glitches and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know if it's the old one or the new one, like the remaster?
Oh, I don't. Oh, you're asking like whether the game is the original or the remaster?
Yeah, the
I
Spyro
believe it
one,
is the original.
Oh man, that thing's gonna be so broken. You guys gotta get the cheats. That would be so much fun to watch. This is just a normal fight, so he's just gonna spam him with, you know, crowd control stuff and just lay into him with a bunch of fun stuff. Oh, here we go. The minigun.
Just verifying, yes, it is the GBA version of Spyro 2.
Oh, so it's even. Okay, so it's
It is
broken
very
times
broken.
6. Okay, cool. So, short version, you kill everyone there. You wait for people to try to kill you, and you kill them instead.
Oh, we still got a fella up there. Where's my volley gun? There we go. Oh, that's not a volley gun.
But he's dead. It's in there somewhere.
Where is it? Is it hiding all the way under there? Oh no.
Did he fall on it? What a little...
Anthony, the
troll.
universe will figure something out.
She's going to kill that child.
Where can you grab another one?
We have to do something. We have to act.
We'll get you activated then.
Come on, Booker. We've got to get out of here. Boost me up. Go to the window.
I should be able just to tap this window and then have an opportunity to try to search for my volley gun. Oh,
Yeah, she's got a speech.
no, I don't have my guns prompted. Heck. Was it underneath this all?
I think so. No, that's a repeater. Did it fall off the edge? Down there? Well, I guess we're rerouting. Let's do this. Oh, they've got one. Oh my.
I don't know if my guns are gonna pop back up. Let's see here. Driving.
Yeah, they pop up once you comfort her and
Yeah.
she goes towards the door, and then you can run back. Also, big spoiler, her line right there. That apparently people don't catch.
Oh, it looks like no, I don't have. Oh, there they are.
Great. So we need guns to switch. Oh, there
There it
they
is.
are.
That didn't take too long.
No. That was a lot better than I thought. I didn't think you were going to find it, honestly. I thought things were going to despawn on you.
No,
That's
that was
very
fun.
sad.
What are you doing in there?
So yeah,
No.
we just try to fly away again, and
Yeah.
we get hecked.
Yeah, and hey, Liz has a new hairdo when she pops out here.
Yeah, and she manages to cut it perfectly, even though I'm sure it, like, boom. Look at that.
Just one clean lop.
Yeah.
Just
The mess, what would you call it, like the messy bob?
This is.
I don't know, you can't tell with these graphics.
Listen.
How do you do it?
How do I do
Little stuff that's interesting is that she says, you know,
How do you wash?
it must run in
away
the family,
things that
meaning
you've
killing, which is cute. And then also she's wearing
Just
Lady Comstock's stuff right now, because this is
done?
Lady
The moment of
Comstock's
truth
ship,
between us.
and
New York or Paris?
Jarko's really uncomfortable, so he's trying to get out of this airship.
and just hiding in the corner.
Jarko's really thinks girls have cooties, and he doesn't want to be around them, so...
There's gotta be some sort of throttle or
So, anyways, Songbird,
He's not happy.
he just pile drives your airship. Like, full on, like a WWE move. Great, there's that.
But hey, we both survived. No broken bones or nothing.
Wait, real talk. How, like, when you fall out of when they drop you out of the airship, the Vox, onto Finkton Docks, and you land flat on your back, every time I'm just wincing, because I'm like, that's like dislocated vertebra at the very least.
Booker's got a spine of steel, dude. you do not know.
I mean, I know what the dev would say. If you were like, that's unrealistic, they'd be like, well, first off, you're shooting crows out of your hand, but second, you're wearing a magnetic shield, so shut up.
He's coming back. He's coming back.
Great, so the Blue Test Twins, who throughout this game are actually, like, honestly, some of the best written NPCs in any game.
Best video game characters. And
They're
yeah,
literally, they're for sure up there.
yeah. I mean,
But
as much as I
anyways.
don't like much of this game, I think they're fun.
Others we can use?
Yeah, I mean,
Something to keep the bird off our back?
they literally are
Ask the maestro himself.
the
So where
reason
is
we
it?
need to skip stuff because they keep getting in our way.
Of course.
Um,
Well, at
but they
least
are
left the
really,
piano.
they're really great, especially actually when you go to the expansions. When you go to the DLCs for this game, they're integrated more, and it's very cool. So, really quick, he's gonna jump on this railing. He's gonna jump over a specific spot, and what that does is it skips a trigger that would bring in a bunch of Vox Populi. Nice jump.
Thank you.
And basically get to this door. Now he's gonna run back to a certain spot. And once he hits that spot, he's going to jump back, and the door will magically be open. And normally you wait for this whole dialogue before you can actually do it. So Jarko's going to go straight over to here. See, this is where people's runs differ in terms of, like, what is he shooting at?
Oh, did I not hit a fella? I did not. Funny. That's pretty direct for him to
Yeah, I
survive.
thought you, like, completely just
Prophecy business.
demolished him.
You don't think
This
Yeah,
is where
splash
this is
damage
one place where runners always start to deviate from each other, because not that it's better, it's just how I've been running it, and I think I actually do need to adjust. Is that's where I'll stop and grab charge and undertow
Oh yeah,
aid.
right back there.
But some people wait till later because it's not super useful. It's not required for anything. It's just if you want to use it. But there is, one would say, a much more convenient place to buy it, sort of. But yeah. You dead? There we go.
There we go. Not the cleanest killing of those
Eh,
folks.
those shock jockey traps were pretty solid.
There.
And see what I mean? They get in our way again. We can't really skip this.
I just realized
Emporia.
you are. They
And also we lose our weapons here, so we couldn't even
allows the city to float.
we couldn't even try to death warp.
Quantum particles suspended in
Unless we
space-time
could, like,
at a fixed
find a
height.
way to just
So, not giant balloons?
But the thing
slide out
is,
of this and
like I
fall,
said,
and
they disappeared
everything's
7
magical.
years
Or
ago.
there's a what do you call it? There's collision, and we just get to walk up it. God, there's so many
Tells me they're not
soft
exactly
cutscenes in this.
Yes, there are. Yes,
But what's kind of great is that it helped. I think in a lot of ways it does
They seem to
help
wanna help.
the run.
Seem to be out of
It might seem more tedious but if you can start to have like a thing where you like check in with yourself and be like, okay, what do I have coming up?
How do you suppose
Um,
they manage that?
That's
I'll get
pretty
back to
great.
you
I mean,
after
I've watched
figure out
like,
the floating city bit.
you know, people do like Fallout 4 runs or like Half-Life 2 runs, and those are crazy in terms of the non-stop nature of them. Granted, they're shorter than this.
Come on.
But I actually am starting to not mind them as much, the cutscenes. So this is where you buy it, which actually,
Yeah. You can get that as well, which is kind of useful.
interesting. I go for undertow aid. But I also kind of want to see if there's a way that's quick to find some sort of money exploit for something. And
I've looked
because-
a bit for a money exploit, and a lot of the ones that I find are always like a small amount of money you gotta do 100,000 times in a row to get any progress on. So you gotta find some way to get a lot of money fast. I do not know how to do that. Only
yeah,
only
because
small amounts slowly.
really quick, let me just explain. So there's a huge fight that's supposed to happen here, and instead we run by them. We death warp through that gate because it will de-aggro everybody and take you out of combat. And because of that, we can request that Liz lockpick the door, and then we hide in the corner just to make sure we don't aggro anybody, and then we can skip that entire thing.
We won't
I
be
was
able
supposed to use
return.
charge there. I'm a chump. I was trying to think of the strats.
I use under to there and just pull them towards me. And then I boost
Oh,
myself and kill
boost.
them all at the same time, and then run.
That's not a bad one. That's not a bad one.
This might be
Yeah, I think some people like doing the right when you jump in, you shoot rocket and then immediately charge to the guy at the top.
Yeah,
I
that's
think
pretty
it's
quick
all.
too.
I think everyone you just get through as fast as you can. But yeah, that skip too. If you can't hit that skip that he just did, death warping and de-aggroing, that can be a pretty substantial time loss because that's like a lot of people to kill. And I want to say if you go back, like if you revert, you go pretty far back. So if you're on a real like good pace, that could be a killer, you know.
Yeah.
But you're doing pretty well right now. What'd you say?
I was asking what you said.
Oh, I said you're doing pretty well right now in terms of time.
Elizabeth.
Hey, these-
Promise me.
I will stop him.
Yeah, so a lot of fun stuff. This is a little bit of a
That is
cutscene.
enough. You cannot
Tiny
Silverfire,
hands.
anything?
Promise me that if it comes to it,
I don't have anything right now.
let him take you back.
It won't come to that.
I mean, because I could talk for hours. I love this game.
No, we're happy
letting-
to
I'm
be
just
here.
listening to you.
Yeah, there's a lot of there was actually a time when I had to. So I went to art school and specifically like writing. And so there was a lot of times that people would bring in like movies and they wanted to discuss how they told the story. And I 100% wrote a paper on this game because its story is great, but I also think the method in which they tell the story, which is you have to go find the story, is super interesting in like how far do you want to actually go in this world? And I think that's actually kind of like it doesn't really force much of the world down your throat.
It does mean that we don't see very much in the speedrun.
That is very true. That is very true. I am frozen on a couple things. Jarko, are you there? Silverfire, are you there?
I'm still here, but
I think
the
we might have
screen
lost
is sitting
Jarko.
on a loading screen, and we may have
We may have lost
lost
Jarko.
our winner.
Yikes. Okay. Lady Starbird is here.
Yep.
Okay. We are still live on chat, correct? Oh, so they do hear me. Okay, great. Okay, well, while okay, yeah. I mean, worst case, I don't know if I'll ask Jarko if he's really not gonna be able to make it back. I actually have my game open. Um and I do have it there if you guys want to keep going. If not, please skip ahead. Do not. Let me see if I can get a hold of him. Hold on, I'm trying to find him. Great, great. So we are working through a couple technical things right now because it seems like Jarko might have had some an internet problem or uh, a streaming problem or something like that. Lord knows this happens all the time, especially with remote stuff. So, you know, thank you all for being patient. Silverfire, anything you want to throw in right now?
Yeah. So Sorry, Vern?
Oh,
Hey,
Oh, hey,
like we
wait, we
suffered a
have
little bit of
Jarko
a
back.
disconnection there.
Welcome
great,
back.
you're back. Amazing.
Super
Okay.
cool.
Cool. So, Jarko, do you mind restreaming?
Sorry.
So I
Stopping
can.
the streaming. Oh, with sharing the screen. Here you go.
Yeah, sorry, screen sharing in.
Yeah, no problem.
Yes. Oh my God, crisis averted.
Home,
Yeah.
please.
Yeah, sure.
So what did we miss?
Well, I
You
was
got
gonna
all
do
the way to.
Songbird Skip there, but I opted to not, so I had an opportunity to make sure everything was okay utilizing my cutscene time.
Very smart. Okay, so
Basically, I successfully did that gate skip back there, got to the other side of the gate, and now we're going to Comstock's house.
amazing. Okay, so basically, at some point, you guys should go watch some runs on speedrun.com about all this. Showrun, real quick. The low graphic option is because we need high frame rate for things, and the low graphics just help us with that. So yes, that's why the graphics of the game look very potato. So yeah, unfortunately, we just missed a couple pretty solid skips. I think both of which were found by you. Is that right, Jarko, or no?
Yeah, I originally found it, and Stoic found that you could do it without drop cloth, because I originally thought you had to do drop cloth and HRH boost to get it. He found you could just do it with.
Had to do what with drop cloth? Which one?
Oh, Songbird Skip. Was that what you're saying?
Yeah. How do you do drop cloth there?
How did I get what?
Sorry. How did you use drop cloth for Songbird Skip?
Oh, there's little sky hooks just right up above that
Oh,
bridge.
there's sky
I'm
hooks.
not
Got
getting
it. Got
this.
it. Yeah, this is a really tough one. Sometimes you just have to reset the checkpoint to de-aggro everybody because they just beat you in the submission.
Oh, there we go.
So this is a really tricky way of shooting up there by using charge to throw yourself up there.
You know, these guys are being a bit of bastards, and I'm not getting quite the angle I'm looking for, but I'm sure if I just have it settled down a bit over here,
Yeah.
I can find that angle.
Yeah, this is a real sketchy part. Once you get basically to Comstock House, the run ends up being places where
There we go.
places where things get soft locked, places where you can just like for some reason the game just doesn't cooperate. You do the same thing you did 35 times in a row, and it'll always not work. Right there, normally that box lets you go right over it if it's moving fast, and it just decided to stop you for a sec.
Yeah, sometimes it can be a son of a gun, but
Yeah, for sure.
retaining a decent pace here.
Yeah, you're still at a good pace. So yeah, I would encourage anyone here who is
There's the switch.
A, enjoying the run, and B, has ever wanted to play this game, to definitely play the game. And there's the jump scare. Completely missed.
Unlocked a little bit there, damn. What
Or
in
you
the
actually?
world?
Oh, weird.
I couldn't go forward at all.
Yeah,
That was
so
crazy.
sometimes if you're too close to that guy and he yells, then he stuns you for a second. So you can really sit there and watch him scream and wake everyone up who's gonna come beat you with billy clubs. So basically right now he's just abusing dying so that he can get to the bottom of this elevator faster. Anyways, if you want to play this game 100% go. That is even better, to be honest. And it's a really great community. It's still pretty small. You know, there's, I don't know, maybe 10 or 15 people who are pretty active in this. The Discord server also includes BioShock and BioShock 2 and the DLCs, Burial at Sea 1 and 2. And is anyone running Minerva's Den?
They don't even listen to me anymore.
Do you know?
What's that?
All I
Is
can
anyone
do
running Minerva's Den?
is watch.
Actively, I mean, I know the route for it. KPC knows the route for it. There's people who know the route, but I don't know how often they run it.
Yeah.
Just to bring you
Yeah,
here.
Minerva's Den is BioShock 2's DLC, and it's super fun.
Yeah, it's a cute little DLC.
I
It's one of
think-
my favorite Bioshock related runs.
Yeah, I think BioShock 2 is like, it's not, I don't think it's a better game, but I do think it introduces some interesting mechanics and kind of just
It's
changes the
unfortunately
script.
underrated and underplayed in the Bioshock community, relatively speaking to 1 and 3. But
Yeah,
but it's lovely. We still routed it down to pretty decent time.
Yeah, yeah. So it's get into
Say
it.
what you will about Comstock.
Get into it for sure.
It was a hell of a fortune teller.
And yes, Showrun, it needs a new one.
Wasn't the torture
Um,
that broke me.
And yeah.
Wasn't
Oh,
the
yes, I can
indoctrination.
explain this really quick. So
There's time. Time
basically,
rots
Elizabeth puts you into a tear to bring you here, and here is like 20 something. Oh god, 20 something, 40 something years later or something.
He
I don't
always
know.
stops.
Basically, you can see
70
the
years
Empire
later?
State Building. Is it really 70? Wow, she looks
72 years later, 1912 is when we start, and we're in 84 now.
She looks great for. What was she? I think she was 21 when you grab her.
Yeah, she'd be.
She looks great for 96 or whatever the math is. Someone
God,
else do the math. 93.
It's for her.
So, anyways, she did this by pulling, basically fulfilling the prophecy. And in there, she says like the indoctrination and the torture are the worst thing. And then she sends you back so that you can go save her, meaning young Liz, and give her this card that you got from old Liz that tells young Liz how to not be old Liz. Suffice to say also that the game does a much more eloquent and beautiful job of explaining it than I just did. So we basically shut off a couple levers here, and then, yeah, we pull a needle out of Liz's back, which is the most uncomfortable thing, even at low-res graphics. I'm pretty sure everyone always winces. Oh, you just got smacked.
Yeah, I thought he might deal me a card like that, but it
Yeah.
ain't the end of the world. We're not too far away. Which end am I on? I'm on this end. Okay.
Oh, I had no idea. I have no idea where you are.
We're gonna be all right.
So yeah, join the club. It's Oh, and why? Why did she do that? Because that was the prophecy, and Comstock brainwashed her essentially. I'd have to brush up on my lore, but
Yeah,
at
it's
some point-
complicated. but
yeah,
that's
it's-
roughly how it works.
yeah, it's complicated. Play the game. Honestly, like it does fully explain it all out. I'm pretty sure the short version while you're dealing with this is that Liz was not only indoctrinated and tortured into becoming what Comstock wanted her to be, but also she was completely disillusioned to the fact that she waited for you and you never came. And then she learned as she got older and gained more power to open tears and things like that, that you could never come. Songbird would literally always stop you. And because of that, she wasn't essentially angry at you and brings you there to be like, well, I don't want to be who I am. Because the thing that made me who I am, which would be Booker not coming, was not his fault. And so she brings you there to inform young Liz how to get out of them.
I'm the one who.
She's given us a way to
Yeah,
get
Showrun,
past
you
the
really
Songbird
got
with
it's
flying
it's
airship.
unfortunately
We'll
like
leave Harris,
a pretty
Elizabeth.
deep dive
Remember, you wanted to go
We're
to
in
not
order
leaving.
to
We are going to find.
get everything, and like even
Just how he turns me,
after
so I will not
writing a
allow
paper
that.
on
So
it
what, you're
and
going to kill
playing
him?
it and like
This is where
like
you
legit
start
like writing down a
moralizing,
bunch of
Booker.
dialogue that was like mentioned at things,
I
and
know
looking
you.
at music references and looking at text
Really?
references and things like that,
Booker?
it still is pretty shrouded
What
in
are
some
you
sort of
going to do
history.
to stop me?
And since it's dealing with something like parallel universes and multiverse theory and things like that, it can logic goes out the window. Let's just put it that way. Logic can sometimes go out the window.
The hand
Um,
of the prophet, he calls it.
When
But
did
yeah,
you learn that?
let's
Been here for a while.
boom. This is a really bad place you can get.
Enough.
I'm gonna wait until you get in the elevator before I say it. Okay, that's a bad place where you can sometimes get soft locked. But she's here. Sometimes she disappears because
Everything here is a cipher
the game
that I
says
understand except for this
when
symbol.
you get into when you leave old Liz, sometimes young Liz is there, and the game gets confused and then disappears both of them, and then you just wait.
It seems
Okay.
to be something like that. Yeah, it's not exactly clear, but something can get super messed up there, and it ain't fun.
Honestly, everything in this game is unclear,
It's locked.
On it.
but that's like the
Look.
beauty of it.
It's the hand of the prophet. Comstock's flagship.
So we just do a death grip so that the door opens faster. And then boom, you spam these people for stuff if you want, and then whatever. Oh, wait, there's a really cool thing that I've yet to actually video and show you guys that I found, which is if you undertow that guy, if you stand on the stairs like 2 flights back and you undertow the Patriot and pull him towards you, he just falls through the ground, and then you don't have to deal with him.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's cool.
I accidentally just like disappeared him. It actually, I didn't realize it sped up the fight a decent amount. I'm not have to do that one. But yeah, this is just kill some people. Just enjoying this game. And basically, you want to do it as obviously as quick as possible. But sometimes there's a way in which if you can get enough people very quickly, it will spawn the barge that you need to use, which is this one right there.
In case you need it.
And now we wait. So Silverfire, of course, cut me off at any point. I'll just keep talking.
Go ahead.
Oh, great, awesome. So yeah, if you guys do want to join this community, it's a small community. It's a supportive community, and man, I think recently Jarko ran for this game for a different charity, and I think there was like 5 of us on the couch with him.
Oh my gosh, there was what, 7 of us in total? I think. Yeah,
Well, so
6
we had
on the couch.
we had host. What was it, 6 or regardless? It was
Yeah,
enough
it was
that,
many of us.
it was
fun.
enough that I felt a little bad because one of the mods who's in there, and he was Prototype, who's an absolute dream of a mod. He was trying to explain like in-game mechanics at certain points, and we're all just making jokes
Being
about
very rowdy.
like a very rowdy couch.
Over there.
And
Comstock's
basically,
men,
the
they're
joke
coming
has
to meet
become that
us.
we are all just uncles making uncle jokes, which is dad jokes but worse. But it's a really cool group of people. So I suggest if you ever had an interest in doing it, join, say what's up, and literally anyone would be happy to even like hop in chat if you stream your game, and they'll walk you through stuff. Like it's that tight knit of a group. So.
Yeah, and I reckon we'll grow quite a bit here in the coming years with BS4 around the corner.
Yeah,
We'll see
and
quite a bit of action, liveness in the
Another
community.
gunship on the
very
left.
excited to be at the start of the game, you know,
Assault.
Yeah.
because I came in years after this game. So you guys had already brought it down to
Coming to attack the
I think my PB at the time with the route was somewhere around 150 or something. And now I think world record is 132, which is absolutely insane. But I think with 1 or 2 more skips, we're gonna see sub 130, which is a huge milestone for this game.
Yeah, pretty close to that barrier.
Yeah, we're getting there, and it's Mama Tesla's at like 132, and then I think Distortion's at like 134.
Aren't they like 10 seconds apart?
Look out.
I'm gonna check this because now I feel bad because I'm gonna get Distortion.
They're very, very close. Mama La Tesla, I believe, broke this record by just a couple seconds, not long after he got it.
That's heartbreaking.
Catch, Booker.
Much obliged.
Oh my god, it's a 2-second thing. Who am I? Oh,
Yeah.
I'm thinking of Glermo is at 137. So yeah.
Oh wow.
Mamama, I guess is how you would say it. Mamama Tesla is 132, and Distortion is 132.47. So I'm sorry, 132.45 to 132.47. So that's. Oh yeah,
That is
and it
a-
was.
That is a
Yeah.
heavy leaderboard.
Well, And for, as you can see, a run that has so many little things that can go differently in terms of how AI reacts once they've spawned in.
There he is.
It's
And to
oh,
land below,
okay. I guess we
right
just
away.
have Ghostfire.
Or we could just fly this thing to
It can
Paris.
be,
Just drop me off. if
it's
you want to. This isn't your problem, Booker.
I won't
it's
abandon
very
You wouldn't.
I don't know. It's kind of crazy that they're that
There's
close.
skylines
I mean,
all over the
I'm
surface
looking
of
on the board right
flagship.
now, and I don't
They're
see
covered with
anyone
those
else
motorized
who's that
Patriot
close.
pods.
So that
You have a
must be
lot
There
of
was
people.
and one point in history where we had a similar tightness, where Henny and Fearful Fair back in late 2015 were racing. Inadvertently, they just happened to be streaming at the same time, and they started an inadvertent race, and that race ended up being 2 world record runs. They both beat the world record. I think they were 15 seconds apart.
Jeez.
That was
God,
pretty
that
cool to
that
see.
must have been hype as all heck.
Yeah, there wasn't many of us, but it was exciting. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm looking at Fearful Fairs. I'm assuming that would have been any percent because he doesn't have an HRH.
Yeah, that was before HRH mod. I think
Well, yeah, and he was 149.07.
someone
so,
got a first try HRH with that too. Yeah, I think. And the other person
mean,
didn't.
Mama Tesla is 138 without HRH mod, which means it would theoretically, if the runs were the same, it would have been a 6-minute grind for that piece of gear. Really quick, so right now we're going on the Hand of the Prophet, which is a gigantic airship for Comstock, which is a war machine because every good Christian preacher needs a war machine, right? So basically, you do each deck, you clear it, you go up a skyline to the second one. Now this deck just, I don't know how recent it is, but we found a skip for this deck. It is very frame rate dependent, and it is very tricky. There's a couple different skips for this area. Again, they're inconsistent. They're not really marathon safe. So they do add. Bless you. You good? Oh. Sorry, I thought it was Jarko, and I was like, Jarko, how are you sneezing so quietly and moving
Bless
around?
for host, yes.
Sorry, you good, Silverfire? Yeah, thank you, Sharon. Sharon says, bless you. Yeah, so there's a skip. Basically, what you end up doing is you can climb up onto, like, above the first floor, and some of the third floor skylines are active. And so if you attach to a third floor skyline, the game goes, oh, he must have already been on the second floor. So it then opens up the second floor skylines, which allow you to get to where you need to go. Which is, in this case, is about to happen because the fight is over, basically. So basically, we can skip straight up to this and speed that section up a lot. However, it is a run killer if you start messing it up. If you're on a really good pace, it's a run killer for sure. So this is a very annoying area because that handyman always just like
He's a fun guy. One of my favorites.
It's tough. So this area also had a fair amount of skips. Or it was a really weird setup.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do that skip. It ain't even fast anymore. We got a better setup, but used to land on this platform and go up and all around and about and out of bounds and come in from behind and stuff, and
Yeah, but you had to do a thing where,
complicated
like,
ordeal to set things off. Yeah.
you basically went through an invisible wall into Comstock's cabin, which is beyond this door. But then you
drop down into this room and you'd kill yourself while opening this door. So it'd be entering this room, but you'd entered it from a point of view where something's already loaded,
basically.
and it would just skip things. Yeah.
Yeah, and it would skip things, and then you would
When I was little, I used to be able
you would do this, like, you would have to jump, hit F, and shoot at the same time.
Oh, you have to do this one. Yeah.
Yeah, you would
jump, shoot, and F. Yes.
Oh yeah, it was jump, kill yourself, and hit F all at the same time, and then for some reason that made it so that later, after this next section, you would be able to walk through a door and skip a good chunk of dialogue. Instead, we found that you can death warp through it because Death Warp's Cure-All, apparently. So,
Yes.
which is much better because that skip was also one where if you messed it up, sometimes you could soft lock things, or oh my god, the worst was that
Look at you, child.
if
Let go
so Elizabeth follows you everywhere, right? If Elizabeth was still on the skyline when you did that first Death Warp,
What?
the skyline sound, that like metal scraping, would not stop. It would continue throughout this entire scene, and it was so terrible.
Is quite possibly the best sound, the best audio file in the game's files to have playing on an infinite loop.
I
There was
mean,
no better sound to have screeching in the background.
yeah, you know, best is a word. You know, best is a word you could use. Here's something I do need to point out to you ahead of time to see if this actually works. If you've ever noticed this. All right, so you're gonna grab him here, right?
Let go of me.
What am I doing?
So you're set up in a certain manner, but it always feels like you have like you guys got turned around, because I feel like you have to turn the wrong way to get to where it is. Am I just crazy? I think I'm just crazy.
I don't know what you're trying to get at.
Basically, every time we finish this, and I believe you turn to the right, correct, to get through?
Yeah.
For some reason, it always felt weird to me. And then I'm now literally just realizing that's because when you grab him, you guys actually do a quarter turn to the right. And
Yeah.
that's why it always felt weird. God,
Kind of spin around to bash his head down, yeah.
God, I'm really dumb. Okay. So basically what happens here is she says,
Your nose.
all right, you see this thing that says, your nose, it's bleeding.
It's
There's a
bleeding.
thing throughout the game. There's a thing that happens throughout the game where when memories collide, meaning when... Nice Death Warp.
I'll prove it to you.
When are you getting it? You just flew over.
I'm alright. I figured it out.
So sorry. Whenever a memory that you had and a memory that you think you didn't have, like when they collide in your head, essentially, your nose starts bleeding. And that's like a trigger that there's something that is true that you don't think is true, or something to that effect, right? It's basically two memories in your head your mind is having trouble reconciling the two of them. Because one happened in a different universe and one happened in this. And normally what it means is that you were brought from one universe to another. And in this case, that's true. You learn at the end that, well, la-di-da, spoilers. You learn at the end that you were brought into a different universe to come and get Elizabeth from Comstock. So yeah, so basically this area is just going to be a fight that, you know, each runner optimizes their own way and has their own strats for. And Pendle Steven, how dare you fix the grammar in this game? So this is also one of the big parts that, like, for me, like, kind of got me, is this whole time she's giving you this card. Old Elizabeth gave you a card that had a cage on it, and she was having trouble figuring it out. And then she yells, "It's a song, CAGE." And that's just, you know, that's just cool. That's just a cool thing. I remember playing it the first time and being like, having like the little like gasp scream thing, and then immediately going, oh god, I have to fight these people. So yeah, this fight's really no different than any other fight. The only difference is that A, it's a lot more people, and B, you have Songbird now at your disposal to every now and then take down an airship or come down onto the field and just beat people up, and just do Songbird things to them, you know? Other than that, it's waves of enemies. They all spawn very predictably, and those rocket guys these guys are the worst.
That was way slower than that should have been, but that's how you clean that first barge.
Yeah, and so you're gonna quick through the second barge because there's two barges that spawn, and they both have an annoying amount of people. So,
Ain't no problem for us though, playing on easy mode.
yeah, seriously, you can just like walk.
You could AFK for 30 minutes and be just fine in this final boss on
Seriously.
easy.
Yeah, the only thing that I miss from the old route is that when you did that weird skip we were talking about where you have to like jump and die and whatever, in order to get to the point, you would go through Comstock's office, and he had a hand cannon, and I want to find a way to get that because I used to use it in this fight, and it was so nice for sniping people. Basically, the hand cannon is exactly what it sounds like. It's a pistol with less shots and good range, great accuracy, and a lot of kick. So it's a one tap for most of these people if you can headshot them, and the headshot hitboxes are so generous. It's insane, especially on easy. So, other than that, we're kind of coming up, not to the end of run, so don't get your finger on the button. That's not what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But we are sort of
Cooling it down.
We're gonna take out some blimps. Excuse me, there's zeppelins. And
What's
then
the difference between a blimp and a zeppelin?
you know, what's the difference between mayo and aioli? Nothing. It's all marketing.
I didn't know that. I don't know what aioli is.
Aioli is like when you go to like a restaurant that's like nice or is trying to be nice. They'll be like, well, it comes with a garlic aioli, and as I understand it, a garlic aioli is basically mayo that they put a little garlic in. So when someone's like, oh, it's a Chipotle aioli, it's like, okay, so you mix a Chipotle mayo with normal mayo, and that's about it. I'm sure there was a better analogy for that, but that's the one I had in my head. I really want breakfast. I'm hungry.
I'm there with you. Don't worry.
Yeah. So basically, again, this is basically phase 2 of the fight. They start introducing harder enemies, these gunships, and then eventually you have to go take them on your own. And these 2 machine guns show up that are really annoying. If you don't kill them, or if they're difficult to kill, they can sometimes really mess with your like you have to wait until they go away. So
You were watching Speedrun Ragnarok, aioli hot takes. I mean BioShock.
there seems to be a new nickname for things in this game every time we patch now. It's like we became BioShock Unfinite for the uncles, and now aioli hot takes. If I actually streamed enough, I would make a section called aioli hot takes. But yeah, Songbird's really useful here because if we had to go to that other blimp, it's just a lot of traveling around and stuff. So now it's just basically clean up. And clean up is very
Closing out this fight.
very effective.
If I can hit anything to save my life. My goodness.
Yeah, the other thing that is a little strange about these graphics is that sometimes, since models aren't as refined, you can think that you shot like part of the Patriot's like flag on his back, and you're like, oh, I got a hit, and then you 100% did not. The thing flies right through. So that's like one downside, but at the same time, an extra, I don't know,
Hey,
50
we
frames
didn't get those
or
guys to
whatever.
spawn.
The extra 50 frames is very nice. All right, so this is essentially the beginning of the end, which is we wait for Elizabeth to get her dumb booty over here.
Come on, Liz.
Let's go. It's such a little John. And then yeah, basically this tower throughout the game, you found out, has been siphoning Elizabeth's power and making her weaker. And so by destroying it, she can basically undo a lot of the... Oh, okay, bye. She can undo a lot of the damage done. And what's funny is I'm sure people who have played this game much more recently, in terms of like casually... Oh, I gotta hit your split. They would say, wow, Hodge, you're entirely wrong. To which I say, I don't care. Currently, I don't care. All right, you know what, Pendle Steven? Don't tell me what an aioli is. It has egg, it's mayo. Or you know what? At the deli, at the delis in New York City, when they say your sandwich is with an aioli, they just mean it's with mayo and maybe some like red pepper flakes.
That's fun.
Which, like, straight up, I don't care. New York deli sandwiches are like some of the best sandwiches in the world.
Yeah, you like living in the city?
I do. It's tricky. Like, I mean, it's just tricky because of the pricing of it. But in terms of like I mean, it's New York City. Like, it's so dumb, but like, it's just great here. It's just very cool, you know. And I have family who live here too.
Oh, for sure, I bet.
My brother's in Queens. My sister's in oh my god, Fort Greene in Brooklyn, and my mom lives in the city in Manhattan. And it's awesome. Actually, what's funny is downstairs, the super of my building is a guy named Jimmy Joe, and he is a Super Smash Brothers like commentator for the 64.
Interesting.
Yeah, and so
cool.
like, yeah, I just one day he had a shirt that said "Gamers Rise Up," and I was like, "Oh, do you game?" And he said that, and I was like, "This is the weirdest thing ever." That like there's a community here. But anyways, okay, so really quick, going back to the run, we're in Rapture now because all universes exist
The
together.
underwater city.
Huh, ridiculous.
Heavily inspired by early New York. 30s,
Yeah,
40s, 50s New York.
Yeah, a lot of that Art Deco thing. Basically, this is a sunken Rockefeller Center. If you've ever seen
Yeah,
pictures of that.
That's a good way of putting it. Chrysler Tower kind of dealio.
Yeah, you see a lot of that, the spires and stuff like that. I think they did a really good job when it came to some of those things. Like the architecture of Columbia
Absolutely.
is very
Rapture's
much
one
like,
of the best cities in a video game ever, probably.
yeah.
Yeah.
It you know, because not only are you going into a different universe and then underwater, you're also going 35 to 40 years later. And you're going to a dead city, so there's a lot of challenges in that. But I mean, you can't tell because of these graphics, but it normally looks beautiful. So yeah, so now it basically becomes a lot of the sort of wrap up of it.
Come on.
Which I think some people criticize this for being very much like, oh, well, they just needed to wrap everything up in a bow. And like, yeah, it's sort of like the cynical way of being like, oh, look, their storytelling is showing. But
open it?
It's no good.
I don't know. In essence, it was. I can't see a
Once
better
we were
way for this
here,
stuff
I
to
could
sort of
fully control it. I thought.
What is
come
that?
out. Like,
I
it feels
think
very-
my problem with it is just that it's not to delve on BSI, but it's kind of self-congratulatory. It kind of gives itself a little victory lap for having made such a great story, and oh, it's so complicated, and here we're gonna really have to explain it all for you now. Your little dumb monkey brain won't get it. Like,
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's pretty.
that said,
What's
the first
annoying
time
is
I played through this
also-
game was one of the best experiences, like gaming experiences I've ever had.
Yeah, I think this was one of them. Recently, I played something that was really. Oh, I played Horizon Zero Dawn.
Oh yeah.
Actually, thought that game was fantastic. So shout out to that game. I do not know the speedrunning community of it at all. So basically, this is also I realize that like, Jarko, I don't know how you played it initially. Were you more of a completionist in terms of like finding stuff, or were you like?
I don't think I was a completionist, but I certainly got my money's worth on my first play. I think it was one sitting down. I think it was about 9.5 hours, just one
Wow.
sitting. Played through the game.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really engaging game. I mean, like
I don't understand.
the
It's
combinations.
beautiful.
Like the thing that you don't see in this is that there's a lot of bigger combinations. So like if you hit someone with fire
There's so many
and then you hit them
choices.
with the crows are on fire and they're stronger, and it's cool.
No
So
one
there's a
tells
lot
me
of those
where
fun
to
things
go.
in the mechanics. But I also realize that not everyone, you know, did the base game for 15 hours before hitting this point. And so I also think the devs needed to make sure that like, even if you barreled through this game, you could understand sort of the story, right? And they could wrap it up in a way worked, you know.
For sure.
Yeah, so basically what he was just doing there is he walked backwards a little bit just to speed it up. Because at this point, I believe you are the trigger for things more so than Liz is, which is nice.
Why were you
So this is the
here?
guy who drowned us at the beginning.
Are you ready to have
Um,
your past erased? Are you ready to
So yeah,
have
there's a lot of
your
cool
sins
things that they lace
cleansed?
together
Are
in
you
here.
ready to be
Um,
born again? Take my
Hi,
hand.
Liz.
No, I don't want to.
You already
Hey, Jarko,
did.
anything else to add about this section other than that it's long and really
Are
annoying?
you
And
ready
we
to
haven't
be
found a way to
born
skip most of it?
again?
I am.
And we have found ways in recent BSI history to skip parts of it, but it is true that
They're
there is
really-
no
They're
good
really
skip
sketch,
for it.
though. I mean, the one that you jump, like there's one where you're walking backwards into this section and you jump and hit interact and then immediately start walking backwards and you actually don't do this cutscene and you run to a different lighthouse and activate that and it skips it, but I don't know.
They're all tears.
Yeah, and just forces the audio and dialogue and actions to
Not
skip
until we find
themselves.
Comstock.
Forces them on to the next one
No.
due to you having triggered them
He was here.
twice. So
Yeah,
it saves
This way.
a healthy like 20, 30 seconds maybe, but
yeah. But also like you can fall through the ground. And then if you fall through the ground, you have to reset because it won't kill you. You'll just keep falling.
This is the man who hired me to
And
find
then I
you.
think you have to go
Really?
all the way back
Yes.
to that first
The
tower
girl for the debt.
in
Yeah.
the water, the dark one,
This is wrong.
and do that all over again. So I do not do
There's
it.
no baby. I remember.
Well,
There was
Pendle
no
Steven, you're
baby, and if
quite
there was, I
lucky.
sure as
I'll
hell
just say
wouldn't give it
that.
over to this guy.
You don't leave this room
Jarko, do you have chat up?
until you do.
Do it.
the BSI community, man.
Bring us the girl.
The BioShock community in total, in whole. Yeah, just come join us.
Go
We
ahead.
had tons of fun stuff going on.
You can wait
Tons
as
of fun
long
game
as you
speedrun.
want.
The burial at sea.
Eventually, you'll give him what he wants.
Ooh.
So general times for the runs, by the way, in case this hour, you know, you'll probably start your first few ones unless you're like just killing it. You'll probably start around 2 hours, around
What
maybe
choice do I
2:15. But like to give you a kind of sense, like
Mr. Comstock washes you of all
first
this.
place for this is 132. 10th place is
Bring us the
144.
girl and wipe away
20th
the
place
debt.
is
There was no
149. So
baby.
that's sort of the
deal was,
range
I
that
go to
you'll
Columbia
eventually
to
get
get
to. But
you.
you know, people who are on the leaderboard still have like a 2-hour thing. I want to say BioShock,
But I remember.
the burials,
Now we've upset him.
fees and
I
stuff.
don't expect this
What
next
are-
First one's about 20 minutes, isn't it?
Yeah, second one's about 35, right? It's a little longer.
40, yeah.
Yeah, and then BioShock 1 is about
Comstock's dead.
50.
You can just
Oh no,
Although I-
BioShock 1's gone down a lot. BioShock
really?
1 has been going through a renaissance, if you will. They've discovered some really cool places
Oh, yeah,
to use
they-
some older tech, and yeah, they're down in the 30s now. I think 34 might be the lowest right now. That was just earlier this week, last week.
Yeah, okay, so I obviously don't run that.
Hey, the deal's off. You
But yeah,
heard?
so that's now
Steve,
much
the
lower.
deal's
Wow,
off.
that's
Give her back.
20
Give her
minutes
back.
from last I
Fine,
checked.
Give her back.
And then
I don't know
the-
last time BioShock 1's been over 55, but yeah, no, it's gone down a lot in recent, what, 2 years, 3 years.
Give me back my
Oh yeah, also big
time.
thing, her finger just got sliced off, that baby's.
Rest
Which-
peacefully.
Yeah, rest in peace, Pinky.
And,
BioShock 2 is looks much less optimized, and KPC 6 days ago dropped it to a 48. What the heck?
48?
Yeah, 48, 58, so
Oh,
49.
that's what it is. Damn. I am
Wow,
awful.
he
at
really
that.
just kind of like slipped that one in there, huh? But also, it should be noted that all of these BioShock, BioShock 2, the DLCs and stuff, they all also have, I mean, Burial at Sea. I can't spell burial, so I'm typing these in right now. Burial at Sea not only has like like episode 1 and episode 2 have pretty solid groups of people running, but the all collectibles runs too are apparently pretty fun. But yeah, there's also a both episode, any percent and stuff. There's a lot of options in terms of not only how many glitches you want to do, but maybe you want, excuse me, something with more combat, or maybe you want one that's just like very technical sort of stuff. And if you know, if you want a 20-minute run, you can try episode 1 of Burial Sea. If you want a 30,
Oh,
get
yeah,
BioShock.
massive range. And the,
Yeah.
and the BioShock runs are great because they got a lot of forgiveness to them. Certainly not like with BSI, it's not a super marathon friendly run with the RNG, but with Hrh mod that makes it more friendly, more viable.
Yeah, and there's a lot of things too where it's like, Songbird Skip, which we unfortunately missed what it was, like, because Jarko's stream went dark for a sec.
I DC'd briefly, but yeah.
Yeah, basically that's something where like it's a great skip to get. It's pretty difficult to get. Like I think I grinded it for like 2 hours before I got it my first time, and then I started getting it more consistently. But if you don't want to do it, it's only a 20-second loss. And if you're not going for world record stuff, then
Whoa.
what just happened?
I got stuck on a level.
Time's coming up.
And 3, 2, 1, time.
That was a real quick one, sorry.
Yeah. No, the whole last section there is kind of a drag, a 12-minute long.
Yeah.
What, epilogue?
Yeah, it's an epilogue. Yeah, it's an epilogue. But yeah, it's a really fun run. I think more importantly, like I don't like, you just saw this run. This run's fun. This run's really diverse in what you have to do. The movement tech, you got to be really quick.
All sorts of stuff going on. Yeah.
Your combat has to be really good, and there are some pretty technical things where you have to, find the perfect angle to get into a wall. Blah blah blah.
Oh, and there's tons of glitches that you didn't even see showcased here today that are just an absolute blast. Cut off tons of time. Crazy
there are things that are,
technology
like,
in them. Yeah.
Super jumping, things like that is a big thing that, like, I know I've been looking in random places to see if there's ways to implement. The glitches are just starting, truly, in this game, and I think I would hope, my personal love would be if this run got down to like an hour before the new one came out. Which, by the way, there are a couple places, Jarko, I want to talk to you about that might have some. Some whatever.
We just need
anyways,
better graphics cards, but yeah.
I think
thank you again for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us. But join the community. The Discord's great. All of us are in one. BioShock 1 through the Burial at Seas, and it's just a fun group to be around. So, yes, thank you guys so much for having us, and good morning to anyone in America.
Yeah.
If you're in America and you're up watching this, why? Yeah, we'll kick it back over. Jarko, great job. About 156. Oh, sorry, 156.21 is your real time.
Hey, that's not far off the estimate.
No.
There you go. But thank you again. I hope y'all enjoyed.
I want to make sure they come back online. Okay, cool.
Hi, and yeah, thank you for this run. Next up, we have Spyro 2 for the GBA. And this will be run by RDA. I will continue to be your host. We do still have an incentive that has yet to be met for this run, which is to show off some of the glitches and exploits you can do if you turn on cheats, to basically beat the whole game with cheats on. And I assure you, it's pretty amusing and silly.
Can I quickly plug the Discord? The Speedrun page. If you guys go to speedrun.com/BSI, it has all our stuff. Just wanted to say that.
Yep, you can find our Discord there. Sure. Resources for running the game.
And videos of the runs of runs on most consoles also.
Yes.
Yeah, cool. Okay, we're done. Promise.
Yep, thank you.